Welcome viewers to the Personal Injury Law Show. This show talks about everything to do with compensation in Victoria. My name's Tony Carbone. I'm a personal injury lawyer of over 25 years experience. With me tonight I've got a partner in insurance law in a law firm, Nunser Tateya.
Tony, Don, viewers, welcome.
And Don Mafia, a partner in law firm in transport accidents. Good evening, Don.
Good evening viewers.
And tonight, viewers, we're going to be talking to an interesting young fellow who's got a compelling story to tell us about his experiences with alcohol and the effects thereafter.
But first, Tony, what's in the news?
There's a lot of stories in the news this week, fellas, and the first one's about a young baby who had a 7-hour delay and taken to quite a few hospitals, and the lateness in supplying him with antibiotics led to his death. What are the facts of this?
He had meningitis and he went to 5 different hospitals, and there was a 7-hour delay, and it was only until the last hospital he went to they started administrating the antibiotics required, and unfortunately he passed away, Tony.
Nuns, does the family have a claim?
Yeah, look, Tony, in these situations, with facts similar to that, the family does have a claim. It's called what's called a nervous shock claim, where the family can sue a relevant body, or in this case might be a hospital, for the nervous shock that they've gone through. And I'd imagine a case of this 4-month-old baby.
Also, Don, Nuncio's correct in saying that in Victoria the family's probably got a claim for nervous shock, but this happened in New South Wales, so you'd have to look at New South Wales provisions.
I think that's right, Tony. And this was a coronial inquest, and one of the doctors who gave evidence actually said, Tony, that in hindsight he would have administered the antibiotics earlier.
The next story, Don, this is close to your heart. Miracle Boy still thriving. 25 years of Transport Accident Commission still thriving and going strong.
Yes, that's right. So in Victoria, the Transport Accident Commission was set up on the 1st of January 1987. It has been still helping benefits, providing benefits to people who are injured in a transport accident. So it's a good story there, Tony. I mean, there's the 2 people in the newspaper. They've been one of the first people in the system, and they're still in the system, which just shows that it is working.
There's a story here of one of the people involved, an 8-year-old, who's been rehabilitated back into society, apparently working now 2 part-time jobs. The family say that TAC's never knocked them back on rehabilitation and other services, which is fantastic.
And those entitlements are ongoing, so he is covered effectively for the entire of his life.
In fact, prior to the TAC coming into play on the 1st of January 86, benefits cut out after around $20,000, give or take. Oh, really? Yeah. This is a very interesting story, this one. Text messages send deadly results. Story here of a young fellow who was texting and lost control at 100 kilometres an hour and killed someone. Driver
distraction is one of the major causes of accidents, Tony, and with these mobile phones now, texting, ringing, looking up even the internet on your iPhone, they are just another cause of distraction that can unfortunately result in horrific accidents such as this one. There's
big campaigns from the TAC and the like about the danger of mobile phones, and a lot of these messages aren't getting heeded. So, people themselves have to take responsibility for what's happening out there.
I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of accidents. I don't know what the figures are at this stage, but accidents involving phones, Don, it's probably the biggest cause of accidents on the road due to carelessness at the moment.
Yeah, and it's increasing. I mean, it's distractions, and just another distraction when you're driving.
But look at the penalties. This particular gentleman, I think, went to jail for 2.5 years, I think it was.
Yeah, but he killed someone.
Yeah, that's right. But at that age, it's, that's a life sentence, effectively. So
it actually wasn't even his phone. It was actually one of his friends handing him the phone to look at a message, and in that split second, he went off the road and caused this tragedy.
Let's go on to this topic of tonight, which is alcohol. One of the ministers has said, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Bob Carr, said, go easy on the booze. This is a travel alert for Schoolies. They had something like 200 cases of young people getting into trouble overseas due to the effects of alcohol and things like that. What are the facts of this?
Oh, look, it's just, I think, a strong message to the young kids out there just to be careful, because especially when you're overseas, because there's not much the Australian government can do at times, especially when it occurs in places like Bali and Thailand, where their laws are pretty strict. So it's just a really strong message to the kids to be careful and don't take any risks.
But more to the point, Don, not only are they getting locked up for drink and brawling and things like that, but the issue here is that there's a lot of people getting seriously injured, and that's what tonight's story's about. we're fortunate to have young Brent Alford coming on the show just after the break to tell us his story of how booze and binge drinking led to his horrific injuries, and now he goes around talking to young people, giving an account of what happened to him and what you should look out for when you start drinking and you're out of control. So
that's right. I mean, the alcohol is one issue, and then of course is the other issue is what it leads to, which cause serious injuries, as we'll see after the break and things like that. So, look, I think it's just a message to everyone out there: just be careful with the drinking, particularly when you're overseas and stuff like that.
Well, viewers, we've got to go to a break, but after the break, stay tuned because we're going to have Brent Alford coming on the show to recount what happened to him.